Greetings. This is Lucinda Nord with Indiana Association of United Ways, and welcome to our update from the Partnerships for Early Learners from Early Learning Indiana. We are so pleased to have Kofi Darku, who some of you may remember from Metro United Way, who's just joined Early Learning Indiana, and Kent Mitchell to describe some of the new happenings that they have with Early Learning Indiana as we all work together to improve quality childcare in Indiana. So without further ado, let's get started.
Great. Thank you so much, Lucinda. Thank you for that warm introduction. This is Kent, and for the opportunity for Kofi and I to speak today about our Partnerships for Early Learners statewide campaign. We are excited and honored to explore ways to partner with United Ways and United Funds across the state to improve early childhood. I want to take a moment to describe who Early Learning Indiana is. If you could go back just one slide, please, Lucinda. I just want to take a moment to talk about who Early Learning Indiana is. We're a nonprofit with a 115-year history of providing and supporting child care and early childhood programming in central Indiana. Our mission, as is stated here, is to assure the highest level of early childhood education for children in Indiana. And that mission can take on many forms, but we strive to stay focused on the two people closest to young children, their parents and their teachers. So a lot of what you're going to hear today from us will be about system-level work in child care and early childhood, but it's all designed to strengthen that child-parent-teacher relationship. The research is clear that the interactions between these three stakeholders can dramatically impact a child's life trajectory. So at the core of our identity, again, a little bit more about Early Learning Indiana, is our 11 nationally accredited centers, our day early learning centers in Indianapolis. We are the largest nonprofit provider in Indiana and serve 1,300 families a year. I'm very proud to say we've been a United Way of Central Indiana agency for over 90 years. Very proud of that history.
Yeah.
30 years ago, our board asked us to work to improve early childhood in Central Indiana via outreach and partnerships. We started Child Care Answers, a regional organization that supports greater quality through outreach, coaching, and training as a Central Indiana child care resource and referral agency. Last year, our board asked us to expand our presence statewide through outreach and partnership work, especially through a new project called Partnerships for Early Learners campaign. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kofi to describe what that project is and more about it.
So it's pretty easy to grasp high-quality early child care centers, but what is Partnerships for Early Learners? It's funded by a $20 million grant from the Lilly Endowment, and it's a 5-year campaign to build a better early childhood system through investments in partners and programs all across the state. Now, I want to stress the partnerships concept. We're a small team of 4. Our primary means to meet our goals through this opportunity is to find great partners across the state and work alongside them through strategic planning and stakeholder engagement. We also want to help with direct investment and by celebrating and replicating homegrown successes. I also want to stress the need for a system. I've seen this in other states as well, but Indiana does not have an early childhood system yet. We have a collection of wonderful programs, people and agencies working hard on behalf of young children, but we know that more structure at the state and local level is needed to improve outcomes for children and families. Otherwise, quality suffers and tens of thousands of children slip through the cracks. Now, there is tremendous demand for a better early childhood system in Indiana. I just want to touch on a few statistics here, all from a needs assessment that we commissioned. You can find a summary on our website. First, there are over 500,000 children birth to 5 in Indiana, and many struggle with poverty. 66% of young children live in households where both parents work, meaning they need some kind of care and education during the workday. I know many United Ways and funds are working to improve the lives of families in poverty and ALICE families, those who earn above poverty but below the local cost of living. The cost of child care contributes to this stress, as the affordability statistics on the slide show. CCDF funds were meant to support working families, but there are 2 main challenges in Indiana with this program. One is too few children are served. The wait list for this resource is over 10,000 families. The second is less than 1/3 of these vouchers are used at a high-quality program. Families have too few quality options in their communities. So this slide highlights an important side effect of not having an early childhood system in Indiana. Wide variation in the percentage of children in an early childhood program that are enrolled in a high-quality program. As we'll go into detail on the next slide, Partnerships for Early Learners believes that 75% of our young children should be in a high-quality program, but the county average currently is right around 40%. So if you're interested in more detail on your county, please reach out to us or to IAUW.
So what are the results we want to see in Indiana through our partnership and funding work? First, again, if a young child attends an early childhood program in Indiana, we want them to be in a high-quality program. This speaks to the map, the figures that Kofi just referenced. Second, Indiana spends over $1.3 billion a year on child care and early childhood programs. Now, that may sound like a lot, but that number is primarily driven by family fees, which represent an estimated 62% of expenditures, and also by federal funding. Taxpayers deserve their money be spent in the most effective ways possible, and more can be done on this front as well. Money should be smartly spent. Finally, we have to lean into the great potential of early childhood programming to improve school and life readiness for children and to strengthen families. We should be collecting more data and demonstrating for others, including policymakers, the great potential of early childhood in this state. Attending to this will feed the other two goals. Now, we have distilled our efforts, what we do, down to 5 main strategies, which you can read here or on a download from our website. And these strategies were the product, I want to stress, of extensive stakeholder interviews and surveys, 800 in total. We also engaged expert organizations in Indiana, such as the Indiana Association for the Education of Young Children, and out-of-state experts, such as the Chicago-based American Institutes for Research. We have 4 full strategy papers available about these areas should you be interested. But we want to focus today our conversation with you all on just 3 of these strategies that we think overlap particularly well with the focus of United Way agencies and funds. We will not be digging deeply into our leadership work because that is very much in formation, but we also expect opportunities to partner there in the future. So the 3 we'll touch on are quality, capacity building, and family engagement.
So when I was speaking earlier and I said it's very easy for people to understand the high quality early childhood program, but our partnerships for early learners is trying to go broader but still keep that high level of quality. So quality improvement for us speaks directly to the 75% goal that we want to see across the state and in each county. We want to help communities move 500 programs to higher levels of quality. This primarily means moving more programs up past the quality, but also can speak to other measures of quality, such as the strength of teacher and child interactions. We think there are strong opportunities to partner here around quality messaging campaigns in your community and small financial awards that can strengthen programs. Both build momentum for quality programming in your community. I want to stress here that we support what is called a mixed delivery system in Indiana. We are supporting quality work with registered ministries and family homes, both vital provider types, particularly in rural communities. We also support child care centers and public schools. Coaching, and I really want to say we know that it will take us having people with a good skill set to help us continue to push the quality that we need. But coaching is our major strategy here, since we know extensive coaching can help facilitate greater quality in programs. We are proud to partner with the state's Office of Early Childhood and Out-of-School Learning and local child care resource and referral agencies. Our capacity goal is to increase by 1,000 the number of new high-quality slots in Indiana that are linked to affordability. While our focus is on growth, we recognize that growth takes many forms, and we embrace a wide range of investments, from capital improvements to teacher professional development that help make growth possible. Connecting with local funders and agencies such as United Ways in this area is particularly important. You all know your communities best and can tell us where new capacity is needed. We have an exciting opportunity being released this Friday on November 13th. We'll be making available $250,000 in funding to support capacity pilots in communities outside of Central Indiana. We hope you will look at this as a potential partnership opportunity. You can sign up on our website to receive the RFP, or you can write us directly as well. One exciting element of this work will be linking funding to complementary business skills training. Family engagement. Yes. Family engagement is an exciting developmental area in early childhood. While the field has long embraced the importance of families to child development, the state of practice varies widely. The fact is, programs are not paid and regulations are not focused on engagement of families. New research shows that the quickest route to child outcomes is through strengthening and empowering parents and families of our communities. A system that ignores the incredible assets of families is a weak and inefficient system. There is a new state framework on family engagement created by Indiana's Early Learning Advisory Committee that we think presents a great opportunity for United Ways. You could offer training in your community around this framework and work that puts it into practice. With respect to partnerships for early learners, we are doing this through a new AmeriCorps Pre-K Family Engagement Program in Evansville, Fort Wayne, and Indianapolis. We are developing a range of materials that we would be happy to share and connect you to Indiana University, our partner in this work. A great future opportunity to partner is around child care search. Many families struggle to identify and enroll their child in a high-quality program. There is much more we can be doing online and offline to support these efforts. Online, we'll be building a stronger user interface and more data for families. Offline, we hope to partner with communities and trusted referrers, such as employers, to better market early childhood opportunities. So, to wrap up, I hope you've heard today many ways to engage with partnerships for early learners. This slide is intended to make these routes explicit. Whether you are just beginning your work in early childhood or ready to deepen your leadership across the state, we are there to support your needs. As you've probably heard, our primary route to engagement is through project partnership. If you share our goals in quality improvement or capacity building and the other areas, let's find ways to formally partner. I really want to thank you for your time today, and please do connect with us. We are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Thank you so much, Kofi. And while we were on the subject, I just want to call folks' attention. I'm going to slip back out of the presentation and over to show you the Partnerships for Early Learners website. So you are welcome to see a lot of those materials that Kofi and Kent referenced are on that website. And then if you have not checked out the new Early Learning Advisory Committee website, I want to call your attention to that. It actually has a new web link that you can actually type in elacindiana.org. Scroll to the very bottom, and that toolkit that Kofi mentioned in terms of the Family Engagement Toolkit is available right there. You can download it, and it actually provides sort of an assessment of how programs are doing against family engagement strategies to really give sort of a marker. So I encourage you to download that as well. There are lots of resources on the ELAC website and on the Early Learning Indiana's website, so I call your attention to those. Before we finish, what I'd like to do is actually talk a little bit about your questions and sort of the next steps. So I just wanted to remind you, many of you I have either spoken with or reached out to you in the last few weeks around local coalition activity, whether that's a very specific early childhood education Coalition or other types of coalitions that meet in your community. We know that many of the communities in preparation for the pre-K application convened business leaders, nonprofit leaders, child care and early education leaders, and school leaders in their communities around that pre-K application. We know that many also do that around the early education matching grants. If those activities are ongoing, or if those activities could be sort of reignited, do help us understand sort of where your coalition development is. Next, we want to make sure that hopefully this webinar has convened or conveyed that Early Learning Indiana is available to help you in a lot of different ways with the tools that they're producing in their specific communities, but also looking at how they expand into other communities. So if you need help convening a conversation locally about the importance of quality, please let us know. Either someone from Early Learning Indiana or someone from our organization or one of the CCR&Rs might be able to help you do that. We also want to continue to promote quality for parents, providers, and business leaders, because we know that a lot of our ALICE families in particular are not accessing quality childcare. And one of the first steps is really understanding what is quality. You know, it's not just having a place that's clean or that has nice toys. It's actually a place that has that good teacher-child interaction and so many other factors. So we want to promote that quality. And then lastly, pay attention to that grant opportunity. If you are aware of some eligible organizations in your community, this might be an opportunity for you to help highlight that to Early Learning Indiana. So let me ask if there are any questions before we conclude the recorded part of our session. I'm looking at the question box. If you have a question, please raise your hand or just ask the question, type it into the question box. I'm not seeing any right now. Is there anything else you would like to add, Kofi or Kent, in terms of our work together between United Ways and Early Learning Indiana?
Yeah, I'll add a few things. One thing we didn't touch much on is, you know, Early Learning Indiana, our presence statewide is new. And so we're still learning a lot about the state, but we've been out extensively. You know, we jump in the car every week and head out to different communities. And often United Ways, United Funds are around those tables. And I just want to say a little bit about how impressed we've been with, you know, their strong commitment to early childhood in many of the communities we've been in. And, you know, it won't surprise you probably for the audience, but many United Ways and funds are focused on kindergarten readiness. And we didn't touch a lot on that today. One of our goals, again, is to increase the readiness of children and families through early childhood. And we've been having some good discussions at the system level about kindergarten readiness and what kind of tools can support communities. I thought it was a good time at least to raise that issue. It's being discussed at the state level. And Kofi has some particular experience with that. I'm just going to look at him. We're in the same room here. I'm looking at him because he comes from Kentucky. Do you want to describe a little bit about that and how you might see something rolling out here in Indiana and how we might support that?
Dependent on it always is interesting when you finally choose a screener or a tool that helps you with the kindergarten readiness piece, because rarely is it fully endorsed by everyone in the state. You know, someone can find issues with it. But my history, especially working primarily in Jefferson County, Kentucky, but also other rural counties, is that once the Brigance, which was their kindergarten readiness screening tool that was used statewide, once it was piloted and then adopted, they've now collected 3 years of data in terms of how counties are doing readiness-wise for kindergarten. And more importantly, they're able to break that data down into zip codes. And so it's helping counties really see where are the kids that are not so ready for kindergarten and where are the kids that are. And, okay, well, what can we do for those particular regions and try and bolster some of the high-quality practices there. So that's just one example of how the data was used in terms of once a screener was adopted statewide and then able to go down to the county and then zip code level. But there are other things that could be of tremendous benefit should this development happen faster in Indiana, and we'll be poised to capitalize on that as a statewide organization that's trying to help make sure we are having high quality practices that prepare our kids for success not only in school but for the rest of their life. But yes, explicitly for that next part of their formal education, that kindergarten through third grade piece, which is so critical for overall performance and overall municipal, county, and state data as well.
Great, thanks Kofi. And I just showed you from the ELAC website the overview of the kindergarten readiness assessment tools that are already used. So we have, from a public policy position, really encouraged adoption of a common tool, although we recognize that there are some questions around which is the best common tool, and that debate continues. We do have a question from Ruthie up in Fort Wayne, and that is, are the On My Way pre-K providers eligible for the capacity building grants that you're going to be making available?
Yes, they are.
Great. Okay, let me see if there are any other questions.
Yeah, and I just say,
Go ahead.
A little bit more on that, on the capacity opportunity. It is very much targeted at high quality programs, which for the purpose of our campaign is defined as level 3 or 4 on path to quality. So that would already include On My Way pre-K folks. And so that's a perfect audience, Lucinda, for this RFP.
Okay, great. We have another question. Are you planning on tracking kids once they enter kindergarten, and do you have the school districts willing to share data regarding kindergarten readiness? If I could just, I think the answer to that is that that's the intent, but I don't think all of those agreements are yet worked out. Is that accurate, Kent?
Well, I'll just speak a little bit from our project is a system level project that's primarily designed to increase the capacity and quality of programs and communities across the state. In terms of tracking, specific children, that is not something that is a core part of our initiative. What we will do and will support through our efforts and competitions and things are more movement toward data, more use of data, and more tracking of those outcomes so we can make a better case for more investment in early childhood. So I think you'll see that threaded throughout our work. Again, we are a practitioner organization. I mentioned we serve about 1,300 families a year. We do use iStar-KR in our centers, and so we have some measures of readiness all along the birth to 5 continuum for our families. And we'd encourage others to explore that tool or others that make sense for them. But in terms of tracking a cohort or a group, that's not a core part of our initiative. I think the best thing happening right now in the state is probably around that On My Way pre-K pilot, and also there's path to quality evaluations that follow children, and we'll see, what are the results in 3rd grade? What does that look like? So I think Indiana's making great progress there, but it's not a core part of our initiative.
Thank you, and I'll just mention one other, and that's the evaluation going around the early education matching grants, which are now available. So, and those grants are available to communities that do not have the On My Way pre-K. So I encourage those of you who are interested to promote that among your providers. So I am not seeing any other questions. We will now conclude the recorded part of this webinar. Thank you all for joining. We're so excited about this this ongoing relationship with the Early Learning Indiana for the Partnerships for Early Learners. Thank you all so much, and this concludes the recorded part of the session.